So this is a, this is quite a warning. Do not try to cure any disease with any of the recipes shown in this video game. Okay.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah. I've never seen one of these in front of a video game before.
Hey everybody, we're doing Vampyr.
How is that supposed to be read?
What do you mean? The Y?
Like, is it just a homophone with vampire, or is it supposed to be read Vampyr or Vampire?
I literally thought you were talking about the Y in Vampyr, and you were like, it's too pink. How is that supposed to be read? you were offended at this game's crimson.
Yeah, that's it. I'm critiquing this game's color scheme with its fonts.
We're off to a great, entertaining start already to this
well, I mean, it
wonderful
could be.
series
I mean,
on really
you know,
cool shit.
Klingon blood is pink sometimes in that one movie.
Start the game.
We're not talking about Star
game.
Trek this early. Get out of here. Get out of here. Come on, for God's sake. We had a whole thing of Star Trek.
Normal mode. Why not?
Yeah, normal.
Sure, that
you
seems
want
like
normal.
the best. Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
So we had a poll for patrons about what should we play next, RE3 and Vampyr, and the controversy within the crew was like, but isn't that just going to be a shutout? Isn't everybody going to go for RE3 remake? Because that's like the hot thing right now. Maybe
I was
we should
absolutely convinced. I didn't even install this. I almost didn't buy this game because I was willing to bet that we would get RE3. And then within the first 15 minutes, the poll was pretty much decided.
We were talking all kinds of shit like, oh, maybe we should like include a paragraph like advocating for why we should do Vampyr. And then you guys voted it for like 85%, like for this game.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
How many of us have played through this game? Or at least played some?
I have not.
Well, as I implied, I didn't own this game until like 2 days ago, so I haven't played any of it.
I haven't played any of it.
Oh no.
I haven't. I'm waiting on it, but now we're doing it here, so...
Why did we nominate this game if none of us have ever played it?
I have played it. I nominated it.
Oh.
Why did we nominate this game if none of us have ever played it?
So I recommended it in part because it fits our wheelhouse really well. It's a story-driven game. It's still some decent action gameplay stuff. It's by Don't Nod, who I still think we need to be able to talk about, and yeah, and we can make some really dumb choices that ruin the world because Cuthbert.
I can never decide if I like this kind of vampire shit here. Like, since the apple was plucked from the sacred tree, mortality is believed to be God's punishment. Like, that kind of writing. I want to say it's Anne Rice writing, but, like, it really goes deeper than that. It's, like, kind of a gothic strain that was just exemplified by some of Anne Rice's work.
True punishment would be to never know.
And it's
so
a lot...
the setting of this game is like Edwardian, right? It's like the
It's
1910s.
No, it's more specific than that. This game is awkwardly timely. It is set during the Great War and the Plague of 1918.
Oh. Okay.
What I was going to say was that it shows a lot of confidence for the game to start out with that kind of monologue, especially given, like, sort of the sensibilities of... I mean, like, this game knew that it was pandering to a niche crowd. Like, that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Right.
I find it interesting that,
Is that what
the
this is?
opening
Are we on a
scene...
battlefield?
I find it really interesting that the opening scene is giving us this sort of, like, old school, like, silent film treatment, because really, like, silent film wouldn't exist without vampires. If we think of Nosferatu, if we think of, like, the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. So really, like, we're dealing with, like, classic cinema style.
I don't know, this is definitely a plague, not a battlefield. It's probably not a good thing that we just climbed alive out of a mass grave for plague victims. Point me out going that way, so what's over here?
Seems to be something with our something wrong with our inner ear, because we're moving
You're
around
supposed to
in a
follow
weird
the
way.
blood.
Chris is already done with my bullshit.
Look, you don't understand. I've played through the opening bit of this game like 5 times in an attempt to like both play the game
What?
and then I started it on the Switch because that was what I was going to do to catch up with us doing this show. And then I've also started it up again when I was going to do a whole thing on vampires and games that went nowhere. So I've played through this intro like so many goddamn times. You don't have any idea. I'm over this whole first hour and a half.
So is there some kind of moral choice here? Can I choose not to just eat this lady?
No, later there is moral choices. Here it is just straight up tone establishment. You have to consume her. It's also plot related. So okay, yes, you could just choose not to do anything.
Actually,
Yeah, just leave.
wouldn't it be funny if Josh just walked right past her and then it turns out that was totally possible this whole time? I see
okay.
what's
So this
going on
is,
here.
this is girlfriend, wife, and we're gonna eat her.
Yeah. Oh, this is good. I like this. This is dramatic.
Well, except that it really doesn't look like he's actually biting her because of the
No,
way
that
she's
is-
translucent.
You know, you'd think if they'd get one thing right with the animation.
It's don't nod. I mean, you know, they're only so good at this.
Still,
I
other
don't
than
think
that,
a
I was
lot
really
of games do biting well either. Like,
That is-
it takes a lot, I think, to have the mouth connect
Oh,
with
okay,
another
sister.
face.
No. Mary!
We need to get Naughty Dog on it with their cloth technology.
Please,
And
hold on.
I wonder how many factors of magnitude bigger the budget for The Last of Us 2 was than this game's.
magnitude probably only about 1, but a factor of
Yeah.
magnitude is a lot.
True.
I mean, if this was a $40 million game, a $400 million game is a much bigger game.
Well, she's dead now. We might as well just eat the rest of her.
Vampires don't eat people; they just suck their blood.
Well, yeah, there's probably more blood in there.
I don't know if this is the appropriate attitude to be taken towards this treatment of
No.
vampires, Joshua.
Please, a moment, let me explain.
I like how he says, "A moment, let me explain," as though he has an explanation just ready to go. in
Yeah.
the chamber. Let me explain.
Is this a world where vampires are known?
I was insanely hungry. Let me explain. I was a vampire. Yeah, we know. Oh, that
I
makes
need to
sense.
get out of here.
No, it's fine. She's my sister.
This can't be happening. Over there. There's one of them.
I love it, and then whenever I'm playing a video game and someone says this can't be happening, it makes me think of Eternal Darkness.
What's going on?
Sometimes when like something weird happens, my wife and I will just say like in an exaggerated voice, "This can't be happening."
Now,
Come on.
I can defend myself.
From these barrels.
Now I can defend myself from these very rude strangers who don't understand why I just murdered my
Stay
sister.
back.
Alright, see ya. Ah, that's not nice.
Yeah, good
Stop
presence
that,
of mind
please.
there.
Who are you?
Was no reason to kill that Tommy. Oh man, got some Bloodborne players up in here.
I do appreciate that it's just letting me ignore the tutorial.
No, please, stop.
It's your moral choice to not kill these innocent people.
Yeah, I'm super curious how much that's actually going to, can I?
Well,
Oh, is this gonna...
They'll remember
Am I stuck at
this.
a door?
you are. You have to kill these guys. So the murder, they kind of try to figure out how to phrase this. They sidestep the killing of mooks problem by making the moral choices separate from the people you have to kill, and most of the time the people you have to kill are supernatural beings, not humans. So, like, the humans are the ones you have to make moral
murder
choices.
not itself a moral choice? Alright, so stamina, dodging, attacking.
We'll get a whole set of
This
blood
isn't really
power.
new stuff anymore. Hang on, I need to murder you before that door will open for me. Ah, that was neat.
So I take it these guys are vampire
How can I get
hunters.
what that
Like,
guy
that's what's
did?
going on here.
Sure, a lot of them for... Does this often happen in areas of plague?
I guess we'll find out.
Well, we all know every level in a Resident Evil game has some sort of boiler room area, so it's a...
True.
I mean, you know,
Let's hang around the
I
boiler room.
need help.
Sooner or later, a vampire will stumble in here, and we'll get him.
Please, listen to me. I can't make any sense of this. Shut up, beast! Who
This
are
seems
you?
like a moral
What
choice.
is this all about? Ah!
No, there's no moral choices for until after we get off the boat.
Just leave me.
You'll see what I mean.
Boat.
You'll see what I mean.
Chris, this is a factory. This isn't a boat. What are you talking about?
I
Feels like it's
God
burning
damn
into
this
the
intro.
bone.
I've seen it so many times.
You know, it's
So
suspicious.
okay, so I've got like regenerating health, but it only regenerates up to a point.
I need to find
Yes,
somewhere
and
to
you eventually
hide.
get healing powers, and there's a whole vampire power.
Oh, so that's how it's
Especially
sprint.
on, like, it's not surprising that our character like doesn't understand the vampire rules, because if you think about it, like the only vampire fiction he would have access to in this era
I cannot
would
enter.
operate under like a subtly different set of logic than you really need to put in a video game.
Is anybody there?
I mean,
Like-
Bram Stoker's Dracula is just nuts. Like, random stuff.
Yeah,
he
like,
can
yeah.
turn into mist, he's...
I mean, the real Dracula was also kind of nuts. So
The real Dracula couldn't turn into mist.
I should be safe.
I mean, more like psychopath, but I mean, he didn't get the name Impaler for nothing.
So, here's where we start getting really weird world building from Don't Nod.
Okay.
I can't tell
What have you done?
if the picture is supposed to be him and his sister, or if it's just a picture of a man and a woman and it's making him think of this.
Mary, I'm sorry.
Because there's a whole story in this
Whoever
house
did
of
this
like
to us.
a lady that went nuts
I
and
will
her husband kept himself locked up in the attic, and then eventually she kind of like half turned, and we'll explore it.
Can you look at
It's
the
fine.
picture again?
It's not really like, even if we could see it, I'm not sure it'd be really clear because it's well, it's supposed to be an old timey photograph, but it looks
like a
like a
daguerreotype.
sketch. Yeah. Is that this button? No. This button? I'm using a PlayStation controller, so the button prompts are wrong. Oh,
It's
I
like
don't
the-
like that.
It's like the thing all the way over on the left.
If I put my thing up here to select this manually, it also scrolls up the damn map.
Just use the trigger buttons to move it.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Weaknesses of
Oh, that's
vampire.
really small text.
It'd be pretty kind of fun. I don't know how much this game does this, but it would be kind of fun to play a game where you turn into a vampire and like the vampire rules are 100% non-standard and maybe even like procedural or like random. So like you basically have to cobble together over time, like for yourself, like what? I can't eat butter? Weird.
Have you played
So-
Golden Light? Go ahead.
Why does this
No,
start
no, I
out
haven't.
saying leeches do not fear the sun and the sun or fire, which is clearly their slang for vampires, but then it goes on to explain how this person tied a vampire under a tree during the day and they died.
Don't nod would be my answer to that.
Yeah, I can't actually.
Maybe they were
parse that.
talking about literal leeches.
Cannot leave now.
I guess, but like it's a bit of a non sequitur.
Well,
Oh,
yeah.
hello.
Oh, they're dead. Yeah.
Nah, they're just sleeping. Gotta be respectful.
They're just taking a
They could have been
break.
dead for too long. There's an oil lamp that's still lit.
Wait. This one's dressed up fancy.
Seems to be some real fucked
Let's
up
run
shit.
through his pockets.
Picking the dead's pockets? Are you serious?
I've still a rent to pay. He's got no more
Yeah, he's
responsibilities.
definitely getting his own memories from things in the house.
Yeah.
Because he's pickpocketing this lady, and now he's getting memories of being pickpocketed.
Suppose we are undertakers. Now,
And they both
give me
found
the-
watches.
Yeah.
In fairness, it's not like those guys knew he was a vampire.
That's just the rough and tumble streets.
Yeah. It's not like it was great to be working class in London at the time.
When has it ever
Yeah,
been good to be working class in London?
It's true.
Also, they were literally about to throw him into a ditch. So taking his pocket watch, I have to say, I'm not judging very hard.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm about to die and you're about to throw me in a ditch full of a bunch of plague bodies and you find a watch in my pocket, go for it.
Yep, this is a mirror that we can use.
I remember when I used to use a mirror. The old family mirror, they called.
Now, wait a minute. Can he even see it?
Who goes there?
I think that's trying to establish that, yes, you can see... The vampires in this universe can see themselves in mirrors.
Who's there? Are you referring to me?
So, I'm wondering if we have the Sherlock DLC or not. Or if it's even DLC, or if it's just a stupid item you always get.
No!
Wait, DLC?
Wait, what?
I still have so
I'll
much to
explain when we get there. I'm
Is
just...
that real?
No, it's not actually Sherlock DLC.
Benedict Cumberbatch shows up and punches you in the face, and then the
I
rest
wouldn't
of the
be
movie, or
surprised.
the game is just a Sherlock game.
With everything that goes on with games now, I would not be surprised.
John Wick appears.
Yeah, John Wick has to
versus
be in
Sherlock
every
Holmes.
video game. Or at least Keanu Reeves. One of the characters that Keanu Reeves
Except
plays.
the Matrix video games.
John, the Earl
Right,
of
we
Wick.
don't deserve-
There's a sick-ass scene where he does an active reload on his family hunting flintlock.
The next Hotline Miami game will have Bill and Ted DLC.
Johnny, this one's lost. We need to leave. And now! There's time.
The old family
Plague
gun.
Doctor?
That's the enemy coming.
He is
I
a
mean, it
doctor
makes sense
coming back from
a
the front
Webley
lines.
revolver would give you associations.
Ah,
with the
okay,
Webley
so he's
revolver
Watson.
during, like, fucking wartime, I guess.
He'll live.
And now what? We fight. Killing
So this
a
is
hell
gonna
of a lot
sound
easier.
really specific, but I actually, when I took a course in grad school that was all about medical people in World War One, and we just read like novels about people who were like paramedics or like nurses in World War, or any of the wars. Actually, it was all the wars.
I didn't realize there was such a genre.
Well,
Beast
this is like
Wars.
PhD like level like
Right.
specificity. But yeah, like it was like we're gonna just, and it was like the most horrible things. And I've read a lot of war literature because I like double majored in history as well, and like I did a lot of that. And it's just like the medical perspective on war, it just like is so perfect for horror because of just how brutal everything was.
So this is the story I was talking about. His wife, I think it's his wife, or at least his significant other, got sick, and then kind of like, it's not really clear what happened to her. My assumption is she turned into a thrall, but she kind of goes not just sickly, but like vampire, sickly and crazy. Like, just like, he comes down one night and she's just sitting in the darkness laughing or whatever, like stuff like that.
I guess I'm sort of following it, but it seems to me like this intro is way more confusing than it should be to like have multiple vampire things going on early on. I feel like they should give us a little bit more time to breathe with like the main premise.
I'd agree with that.
This is a little too much, I think. Like, this journal is too long.
The font is way too small. I'm like,
well, that's probably the consequence of me running at 1440p resolution and then scaling it down to 1080p for the recording, but
It doesn't look much better on a Switch screen, which is like 720p total, so.
oh, is it the same on a Switch screen? Oh no.
Can you imagine reading this on a handheld Switch?
Yeah, Switch Lite.
Should we be reading any of this aloud, do you think?
No, I think we're good. I think we've recovered from the disaster. The point is,
What? Why did I go back here? What?
you
I must
cursed
have
it.
accidentally hit something.
hit B to go back.
So, did he kill her in the end or not? He says he couldn't pull the trigger, and then she's dead.
She was the lady with the watch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she
Yeah, and he's
has
talking
the
about... He was talking about how she was down here and he, like, pulled his gun on her and she didn't react, but he couldn't pull the trigger. And then the next day, she's dead. So I assume he shot her at some point, because it really looks like she died violently rather than just, you know, keeling over.
she looks like she got shot. I know. I've been shot myself. No.
You've done the literature.
Yeah, part of your PhD program, everybody in your class got shot.
It was part of the course. They're like, we're gonna simulate what we just read in this horrific World War I story.
This makes no sense. None of it. No sense at all.